All right, so your future. I assume everybody here is studying Japanese or is thinking about studying Japanese. One of the biggest questions I get is, why shouldn't I just study Chinese? Or why shouldn't I just study Spanish? Japan is still the third largest economy in the world. That's huge. Like, it's a little island nation and it's got the third largest economy in the world. So there's a lot of money going in and out of Japan. Therefore, there are a lot of jobs. So Chinese is the second largest, but again, as Chinese becomes more popular, more people are taking it, being able to speak Japanese is still just as valuable. So I don't think it's a good argument to say that its economy is a little bit smaller. Also, I actually am currently teaching a guy who works for a supplier for Honda. I'm teaching him Japanese. He studied Chinese here at OSU, but he needs Japanese for his job. So, and it's funny because he has all these tones when he speaks Japanese. So, what was it we were practicing earlier? Wakarimasu ka? Like, he tries to put these tones in it. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately for him, Chinese ended up not being as useful for him. Also, it's a hugely vital language for Central Ohio businesses and just Ohio at large. Growing up in Tennessee, I mean, Nissan came along like in the 90s, but growing up, there were very few Japanese people. There was only one Japanese restaurant. But in Ohio, it's really striking to me how many Japanese businesses there are, and not just Honda, but they work with all kinds of different businesses in the area. And it's not just automotive. There are all kinds of different, different jobs, different aspects of employment out there that all use Japanese. So it could be something as simple as working as a receptionist to being an engineer. Whatever it is that you're interested in, you probably are going to be able to find something. Now with my job, it's sort of academic corporate. It's this sort of weird melange of two different career areas. But again, I mean, being able to speak Japanese will actually open a lot of career doors for you in this area. Also, it commands a higher pay rate than Romance languages. So the guy that I'm teaching Japanese to, I was actually contacted by a company, and so I work through them. If you look at and for a lot of companies, if you look at their websites, if you're thinking of teaching, they actually charge $10 to $15 an hour higher for Japanese than they do for Romance languages. So you're in a good field. So, and my next point, Japanese is a skill. A lot of people think of Japanese as an end game. Like, I'm gonna learn it. Oh yeah, look, I learned Japanese, isn't that awesome? It's a skill, and it's something that you bring to your job, but it isn't the only thing that you do. So these are some of my skills. So that's the guy I was telling you about. I don't know why the image is sort of, I think it's the screen. Dimensions are different from my computer, his face got stretched out. But you can see I made him in PowerPoint. And I can move his mouth around and make him make different sounds. But you have things like, so the top right here, that's the program that we use to create those interactive lessons. I learned that on the job. The data analysis that I do at the bottom there, I learned that during my previous job. His name is Honda Hatsuo because it sounds like Hatsuon, which means pronunciation. I know. Yeah, everybody loves it. Everybody in Honda, they're really excited about it. But yeah, I mean, doing stuff like that, I do art, and I wanted to learn vector art, so I just taught myself. And then I figured out how to do it in PowerPoint. So, all of your experiences and all of your skills, Japanese is one of those. It's not the only thing on your resume. So try to think of it that way. Again, I do know people who've like, oh, I graduated with a Japanese degree, now what do I do? It's really scary, like what's the next step? So start thinking about the other things that you're interested in. It doesn't just have to be teaching, and it just doesn't have to be, speaking Japanese, but it could be, any number of different things that you're interested in. All right, and lastly, challenges of Japanese for me and the rewards. So, uchi soto, I still struggle with it. In-group, out-group. It's like, okay, well I want to use this honorific, but like they're kind of in my group, but this guy, like, how close are they? And if they're higher than, like, you constantly have to think about it. I still am challenged by it. I still second guess myself. So I was talking to the president of one of the companies where I work, and he was talking about his employee, and he asked me if he was, doing his best, and it's like, well, do I say ganbatte imasu because he's a lot younger than me, or do I say ganbatte irasshaimasu because he's part of this guy's company, but he's the president of the company, and I don't want to honor this guy, but so like, it's sit there and think about all this stuff. It's still a struggle. But again, that's what makes it fun. You know, you're always learning something. Sumimasen, for me, not the word itself, but the concept of apologizing. As an American, it's like, no, I'm right and I'm gonna be right. So being able to apologize, it doesn't work the same way in English. I know in English we're gonna be like, yeah, but the guy was wrong, why should I apologize? Don't think of it that way. So it took me a long time just to stop feeling emotionally like, I'm saying it, but I don't mean it. You know, you get over it after a while. So, どうもすいません。申し訳ございません。申し訳ないけど。You know, it's eventually you start to emotionally start to change as well as you study the language. Feminine speech, I railed against that for a long time. When I was living in Japan, I couldn't get a date. I had some guys who were kind of interested. Then I started speaking in a more feminine way. Got a boyfriend, and he even commented on it. He's like, you know, you don't talk like those American girls. Like you actually use like feminine speech. I like that. Okay, but again, it's something you have to get over. I know you're trying to like, who am I? You know, I modeled myself after this actress who talks like really rough, and I came across as being like, you know, this crazy rough, awkward American woman. So finding out who you are in another language, especially one that's that different is difficult. But it is something that you do learn to do over time. And myself, doubting myself. So I've been studying Japanese for about 15 years, and I still feel like I don't know anything. That doesn't really go away, but at the same time, it challenges you to keep learning more. So, and don't think to yourself, well, I want to apply for that job, but I don't feel like my Japanese is good enough. You got to start somewhere. You know, start just, again, something simple. You know, do some basic translation. Go work in an office that has Japanese people in it. Just that listening alone will really help your skills. So yeah, even at this level, we still all doubt ourselves in terms of our language ability. But it's okay, you know. Then rewards, career opportunities, obviously. Again, in Ohio, they're amazing. And there's so many, I mean, I get contacted on a pretty regular basis with people offering me jobs or asking if I know somebody. About once a month I get an email. So, you know, maintain your LinkedIn page. Make a LinkedIn page if you don't have one. You definitely need that. Community, you know, you really develop a sense of community. I mean, so many people that I know now, I never would have known or met without Japanese. Actually, because of Japanese friends, I started dating this guy who took me to a party where I met my husband. So, so you never know what's going to happen. And experiences, you know, going out shopping even, I'll use Japanese. I was with my husband at the Lowe's, and this couple walked by, and the wife said, and you know, you can't help it if you understand. And so I turned in Japanese, I asked, oh, are you guys looking for something? And they, you know, and the husband's like, sugoi desu ne. And then he said, ah, so desu ne, shower no setto. この辺にあるかなと思ってたんです。あ、そうです。You know, and he kept saying, すごいですね. You know, but those kind of experiences, they're fun. They make good stories. They're good practice. You know, and again, you know, I was able to actually help them find the shower faucet that they were looking for. You know, so you're also helping people in your own community. And finally, lifelong pursuit. You're never gonna like be done learning Japanese, but you're never gonna be done learning anything else. As soon as you think you're done, you stagnated. So every week, I try to do it every day, but every week I'll use a program like Anki and just practice. I'll practice writing my hand. I know everybody does it by computer. I started doing it by computer, and then when I go to teach something, it's like, oh, I don't remember what the kanji is. You know, you will forget it. Even if it's just 5 minutes a day, something as simple as that, 5-10 minutes a day, it will actually help you maintain that level. Because like any other skill, it will deteriorate over time if you don't practice it, if you don't use it. So just, you know, make that commitment to do that. Just like you go to, you know, if you go to work and you go to class every day, it's the same idea. So, all right, so I guess now we are actually doing questions. So thank you guys so much for listening.